And the language we use, I think, is so fundamental, and this can get very complex, and I want to keep it as simple as I can for myself. That language creates mindsets, is based on mindsets. The mindsets are psychology, psychology is also in transition. And our psychologies today, and let's not underestimate the power of our psychologies, of the last 100 years, certainly the last 80 years, they condition, frankly, every part of our lives. And those psychologies, to a great extent, they're brilliant because they broke ground. No question about it. But they are focused on the past. And that's also, many of them have been very connected to a medical model, which basically said, and here, this is the language that really I'm challenging, and I feel so challenged by it. That medical model says there's a problem, how do we fix it? How do we cure it? And within a psychological context, that has been taken on board to a large degree. So if somebody's traumatized in the past, let's work for a long time with them to get it right. Which misses, for me, a whole dimension, which is a new language that I believe, and it's not just psychosynthesis, there are other psychological paths here that really can help this, that says it's not just about what's the context of what is trying to happen in this person's life. Let us then look at, as I said earlier, the past in relation to that. So for me, the language is, it's no longer about mental models or a mental health language. It's about language about the individual finding their way through purpose and meaning, some direction in their lives, and how that then gets dealt with in terms of history. Sorry about my hands, but how it gets dealt with in terms of dealing with history if it gets in the way. Sometimes it won't get in the way. Sometimes it really gets in the way. Now, that's very different than dealing with a patient, a client, who has very little ego strength, has very little ground, and whose life is quite dysfunctional. And that needs reparation. It's a different slightly different context. You're still looking for where is the self in that individual. How can you help that grow? How can you help that person create strength, ego strength, as a container? Many people, I'm not talking about young people, there are many who don't have that ego strength. And that's really important. Now, there are many who do. They have enough ego strength to pay their rent, pay their taxes, they have a decent or not relation, they're able to be in relationship. So they have enough ego strength, they can hold down a job, but they're still disturbed. Now, if we only look at the past in terms of that, so we completely miss, for me, what this person is trying to become. And that is so the language that we use, I think, is incredibly important that we start to pay attention to that and start to use a language, not a language of positivity, that's different, but it's a language that says, who is this person most essentially, what are they trying to live in their lives, and how are they trying to live? And so if somebody comes to me as a client, whether as in therapy or as a coach, and I train coaches, those are key questions. Is there enough ego strength? This young person in school, in uni, many of them are relatively well adjusted. So what are you reaching for? Where are you trying to go? What's trying to happen in your life? What's really important for you? And then deal with the inadequacies, all the stuff in relation to that, rather than trying to clear all of that stuff out first.